So you're scrolling through Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, whatever it may be, and you're seeing gains like these, and these. But how do you obtain those? How do you see what's going on? People are selling you courses. You don't know what to do. Scratch that. I'm going to give it to you for free. Today, we're talking about trading the breakout. Let's get to it. Now, in the previous video, I've gone over pivots, I've gone over the ADMA, I've gone over continuation, but now I'm going to teach you guys how to go over breakouts and getting that next level. These are going to be for scalps and very quick day trades, and that's how people are making and posting some of these gains. Now, I am going to address that some of these trades these people are taking are complete lottos and gambling, but when you're looking at it from the right perspective, you can definitely rein in that risk management and reduce the margin of error, and that's the point of the channel, creating the least opportunity to lose with the highest % chance to win. Let's get to it. So what we're doing is going to be spotting out some of these key ranges, and I haven't gone over too much of spotting key zones yet here on the channel. So we're going to ease into it with this one, and it's going to be a very good base level, about 5 minutes in length. So what we're going to do is go right to the previous highs that we had here on Nvidia, and we're going to look at Apple here in a sec. So what I do is grab that local top, and I'm going to grab the other high that we previously had right there, and you're gonna see it lines up with other levels as well. So what we're gonna do right there, and now just from that range, let's look at what's going on in this overall block. You have the previous high about right here. The new high is right there. You can actually bring that down just a little bit, and you can see it's right there as well. So it's a double top here, and you have a few touches right there. So this is gonna show it's a very respectable range, about 269.9 all the way up to about 272, and you can see you chopped in and out of this range multiple times. You can also see when you came in to break above it, you chopped in this range multiple times but held above the ADMA, which we went over in the last video for that continuation, but we'll get into that here in a second as well. So if you traded this, you made a pretty penny to the upside once you started breaking out, but how do you know when to get in? And you don't really want to trade that parabolic move. So this is where we started to trade this one personally. Now, if you follow NVIDIA, you know that there's very key levels, and people are often going to tell you when you're trading a specific stock or getting into trading options, focus on key stocks. Don't go crazy on 20 different stocks. Focus on your top 5, and you want to get decent movers, NVIDIA being one of them. So what we're going to do is look at what happened here when you started reaching these local highs at 283. So for myself personally, I don't like to trade that initial move to the upside unless I'm already in. Then obviously I'm going to ride it to the moon. But here I'm trying to get in on a retest or on a consolidation phase or some type of slowdown and then make that gain back to where I think the target may be. Now what we're looking at here and how we traded this personally is we marked out that key range you had before, which of course was 280, and then it also came down to about right here 279.13. This is where, in my opinion, things really started to heat up and get interesting. So what we're going to do is actually break this down into a smaller time frame so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, now we are in the 1 minute, and I know this is not what you signed up for, but hear me out. Let's get to it. So what you're seeing is an overall trend to the upside on that short term. This is that break that you had. This is where you started to top off 1, 2, 3, roughly 4 times, making lower highs, but also making higher lows. We've also talked about this. So you can see the trend going on here. So as long as the market stayed relatively bullish, in our opinion, this thing was gonna start moving. So where did I look to start to get in? This is where I was looking. You started to get that break above the highs at about this range at 280, and that was really your confirmation. But what really tells you the story is when you zoom in a little bit more, you can look at the volume. So the volume's gonna tell you the story as well. So we saw all the way on this run up, you were getting crazy volume on wicks. But on this downside push that you were getting relative to what was really going on here, you can also see that the volume was decreasing. What does that mean? So as you can see, the volume is decreasing when the sellers are stepping in, but you can also see you're making higher lows while volume continues to stay down. Once you start to get really nice volume, which again is around that range right here, so you can see all that volume down here is very low. And then once you start to get that breakout, which is right here, you can see the volume again starts to rise back up and maintains a higher level than it was at those lows down here, which indicates that buyers, in my opinion, were in control. So once you start to see that massive volume kicking in there on the breakout as well, that's going to tell you buyers are stepping in and sellers are getting exhausted. And then of course you see the retest back into our range, and that's your get in moment. pushing you to those highs of 283. Options here, we're making a killing 40, 50, 60%, depending on when you got in and when you got out. And of course, you got that signature double top, if you will, a little bit of a lower high made right there, but still, that would have been your signal to get the hell out. Or you could have got out right when you crossed back below the 8 EMA. Either way, win-win. That's how I traded that one. Let's look at Apple. Apple was another runner on the week with very bullish news coming out across the board, and it was a clear uptrend every single time the SPY dipped. It just continued climbing. The breakout was one of the big plays. A lot of people were trading this one as well. So what we're going to do is grab that local top you had here. You're going to see that bottom you had right here, your previous high. You're just going to track it right across there. That's going to be your overall range, and we'll come back and retest this here in a second. But let's look at what was happening. Now, this one is a little bit different, and it's going to give you a great viewpoint, in my opinion. You can see that you're chopping in and out of this range for about 2 days, 1.5 days roughly, and then you start to break out. Now, what's going on here, and what does the volume really tell us? So what you're seeing is all right volume kicking up into this move, and you get a massive spike as you get this move here. The market was just going kind of parabolic in general, and then you see volume kind of die down. You see sellers step in at the end of the day here, and you're just, again, chopping, but again, you see that clear descending volume right there, and you can also see what you're doing, very similar to what happened with NVDA. So what we're gonna look at right here is going to be those higher lows once again forming, and you're actually making higher highs on the board here, which tells you right now that you're looking very, very strong. So you're trending back up, you're getting really terrible volume from those sellers as well, trying to hold you back as you're making those higher lows, trending to the upside, staying in that bullish trend, and then right here you start to break above. Now this is gonna be the area that's gonna be a teaching moment right here, that critical break. This is why you're always looking for the retest, and can you maintain in that zone? So let's break it down to a shorter time frame and look at that. So as you can see, one, I want to make it very clear that you're testing that previous high multiple times over and over and getting rejected, and then you finally get that first retest of that key range up here being rejected within about 2 minutes, right back down. You didn't even hold there for 5 minutes, which is something I'm always looking for. Back to the 8 EMA strategy, which is going to tell you and confirm that breakout as well. And then you keep going on here. And then this is where things get interesting. So you can see you're slowly grinding, maintaining, as you can see right here as well on this downside push. That volume is non-existent down here. There's no volume, but you're continuing up. The sellers are getting exhausted. And then where does the volume step up? It's going to be right here as you're breaking back above those highs, and the volume continues to the upside. As the volume continues, you start breaking out here. And if you didn't want to enter immediately on the breakout, it would have been once again as you rebroke back above that 8 EMA there. So granted, you didn't get that best entry at 172, but you could have got in right there once you broke back above at 173, and you started tracking back up to those highs. And again, you're not looking for those exits on the 1 minute. You want to come back to the 5 minute, and that's where you're going to know when it's time to get out, or whenever sellers are taking back control. So you see that volume kicking back in, you're grinding above that 8 EMA, literally nonstop. You can't hold 2 candles below the 8 EMA, and you end up topping out around 175, 175.3, of course. And then once you break back below 2 candles below the 8 EMA, that'd be your signal to get out. So if you got in roughly at that range in that retest of 173, 172.5, you made a killing once again on those options over the past day, half a day roughly, on those contracts. And that's how I'm looking to trade these breakouts over and over. And then you can extend this further out to see if it's going to come back to that zone and get that bounce from that range. You can also see that sellers and buyers aren't even letting it get down to that range. Buyers are stepping right up to the plate. Sellers are not dominating. Again, low volume. Again, you start to break back to the upside with that volume. The same story. You come up and it looks like you're going to get a double top right now. But again, to end this week, volume's taking over. It looks like you're going to get more of an upside going into next week, but that's how I'm looking at it. You want to see that stagnation and then volume kicking in on that breakout. If you have questions, please comment down below. More videos are coming, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.